All right, guys, it's been a couple weeks since I bought this 1999 Springer. Now, when I test rode it, had 9,478 miles. We just broke 10,000 miles last week in just a couple weeks. Now, I'm not riding a lot on this, but if you saw the video where I purchased the bike, you can tell I've already made a few minor changes. One is that lapel seat. That was the biggest thing. I called the bike a bar hopper because I didn't want to go more than 20 miles and I wanted to stand up and get off that seat. Now, it came with this Mustang seat. I put this on here, and I have rode to the Lake of the Ozarks and back. I've done, a couple of 100-mile trips, so I can do 60 or 80 miles on it nonstop, no problem. We haven't gone further than that just because we stopped for gas or something else, or we were at our destination. But I'm pretty sure I can do 150 miles on this seat without a problem. So that's made the bike much more rideable. Now, I am not big on this conchos and studding, so this thing is probably going to get replaced at some point, but for now, I have a usable seat. And what I'm thinking about doing is just keeping the lapel for show or something else, but I found some seats on Facebook Marketplace for 50 bucks. I just got to find one that's close enough that's worth driving to go pick up. And then I might have it custom fitted, some more foam added to it, things like that. I do want a solo seat. I'd love to find a Mustang Tripper seat, is what I think it is, the one I've been looking at. But I don't want to drop 400 bucks on a new seat. So again, I'm probably going to do a Facebook Marketplace seat or something like that and put on here unless I can just find a really good deal on one. So if anybody's got a good deal on a good, comfortable solo seat for a 84 to 99 Softail, let me know. Leave me a comment, shoot me an email, ridingintheozarks@gmail.com. Now, the other thing I changed was the saddlebags. The saddlebags that were on here were kind of removable. They had a zipper, but then it left a leather strip hanging right here. And the way that were mounted was they simply loosened all of this up from the struts, squeezed it up between the fender and the struts, and then tightened it back up and clamped it in there. If they used any glue, I couldn't tell that they did. I didn't see any residue for glue or anything else. They just simply smashed it in there and clamped it down tight. And they were holding. They were fine. But I didn't really like the looks of them, so I pulled those off. But I need a little bit of storage. Place to put, clear glasses, sunglasses, maybe a light jacket, that kind of thing. So I found a Swingarm tool bag kind of bag that I've mounted on this side. I put it on the left side because the side with the exhaust is typically the pretty side, and I didn't really want it on there. So I've got it on the other side. I'll show you what it looks like here. But it's big enough that I've got a windbreaker in there, 2 pair of glasses. I could throw a phone in there, or phone brick to charge my phone with, things like that, so I'm not sitting on them. Maybe I'll find another bag to go up here on the risers that I can just strap on when I need it for maybe longer trips if I'm going to be gone all day and I want a place to put a phone charger, or put my phone in it and have it charging while it's in there with one of those USB wireless chargers, or something like that. Now, if you guys didn't know, if you have a friendly dealership, one you work with a lot like I do with Renegade Harley Davidson, you can give them a VIN and they can check their service records to see if that bike has been serviced at a Harley Davidson dealership that participates. Not apparently all do, or not all service records would be in there from all periods of time. I don't know how far going back. This is a 1999. But I did find some interesting stuff out. I'm going to read this to you because I want to make sure I don't get it wrong. Doc's, which is in St. Louis, Missouri at the time, did a 1K service on this bike at 879 miles. Now, this is a 1999 model. They did that in March of 2012. So this bike set for 13 years with less than 1,000 miles on it. I don't know, but I know some people who used to work at Doc's, is now part of St. Louis Harley Davidson, that follow the channel. So maybe if anybody worked at Doc's back in the day, between 99 and 2012, you can let me know. But I wondered if this was maybe like a bike the dealership bought, and then they just put it on display there in the dealership and wouldn't sell it. Like I said, I think 99 with this paint is pretty rare. This is a factory custom color. And as I understand it, that meant the dealership or the customer had to order it with that paint set on it. It wasn't one of the standard colors that they just shipped out to dealers. So that probably makes it even more rare. And maybe last year the Evo Springer in this color. The dealer just wanted to have it and held it on for 10, 13 years and then decided it was time to sell it. Now, 1 month after it was bought at 879 miles, it was serviced again. And just put over 250 miles on it in a month, whoever bought it, and they got an exhaust, an air cleaner kit, a jet kit, a diaphragm in the carb, and a tune on the dyno. So I'm assuming that's probably when this exhaust got put on. I just did a 10,000 mile service on this bike yesterday, and I pulled that air cleaner off, and underneath it is an Arlen Ness Big Sucker. So it makes sense to me that in April of 2012, they did a stage one, put a Big Sucker on here, put pipes on it, jetted the carb, dyno tuned it, and that's probably, I would say, all that's been done to it. I said I thought before it was pretty stock. Well, of course, I haven't rode a stock Evo in a long time, so it's hard to compare. But I don't think it's got a cam based on the sound. Now, it just so happens that in 2002, I bought an Andrews EV27 cam for a bike that I was going to build then, my Dyna, and then it got wrecked. And I never built that. I got high lift springs and roller rockers and a cam, and I was going to do a lot of stuff to it. Probably maybe even look for ported and polished heads, but I never got that far because the bike got wrecked. But the EV27 cam is a nice, good bolt-in cam that I could put in this without doing much else. I would probably want to replace that bearing when I do it and then put the cam in. But I might do that. I've kind of, debated for the last couple of weeks whether I wanted to leave this thing exactly as close to stock or put it back close to stock as I could. The fact is, it's got one little ding in the paint right here, and it could probably be fixed with paintless dent repair, but it means the bike has personality. It's got scratches in the chrome here and there. It's not perfect, and I think I'm okay with that. I think I want it to have a personality. I think I want it to be a rider, not a show bike that sits in my shop. So this old Evo, it's going to get rode back and forth to work, to bike shows, to Lake of the Ozarks, to maybe Eureka Springs for spring fling, or maybe the dice run or something like that. We'll have to see, but I got to make a few more changes to it before I'm going to be really comfortable on it doing longer rides. So that's probably going to be next year before those things happen. And when I say, really comfortable, let me show you. That's one reason I set the camera up this way, so you guys can get a good side profile. These bars are not terrible for height. And it may be hard to see in the video, but they are super wide. I'll show you some footage when I'm riding on it, and you can't hardly see the end of the bars because they're so wide. And if you look down there by the risers, you'll see that these bars come way out past the risers before they bend up. Now, I've measured them, and they're 38.5, 39 inches from end of grip to end of grip. Most bars are more like 34, 32. Now these are also what they call buffalo bars, I think, because they're 1.25 inches. They are Springer bars, but they're 1.25 inches. They're bigger around than what was stock. Stock bars on this would have been a 1-inch bar, and they would have been a buckhorn bar, like my dad's Springer over here behind me. And I don't know that I want to go back to a buckhorn bar. I don't dislike them, but I kind of like the apes on this. And all these cables are set up for a 12-inch bar. I did measure this, and I've confirmed it's a 12-inch bar, but it's really wide. So if I get another 12-inch bar, it brings my hands in about 3 inches on each side. TC Bros has a 1-inch, 12-inch rise handlebar that I could put on here and probably not have to change my cables, bring my arms in a little bit. Part of the problem I have is slow speeds. When I do this, because this is so wide, I am really reaching out here. Even just bringing them in here helps a lot. So I'm really stretching out, and it's not comfortable. It's not good for control of the bike, things like that. The other option is to go down to an 8-inch rise. And I don't know that I want to go down 4 inches because I'm definitely going to need to change the cables out. I'm going to have way too long a cable. Some of these cables are already a little long. But that may be where we end up. There is a company that makes a 10-inch rise ape hanger for this bike, and that's Drag Specialties. And they're a 1 1/4 bar like this, but they're out of stock right now. I'm thinking I'll try the TC Bros 12-inch handlebar maybe, if the others don't come back in stock right away. And then I don't have to change my cables probably, and see how I like that. And they're really affordable bars, so it's not a huge investment. And I'm not changing a bunch of cables and everything else. And if I can live with that, then maybe I'll live with that till the 10-inch rise bars come back in stock, or I can find a used set or something like that and go to what I really want. Of course, when I do that, then I'm going to have to do cables and things, and that's going to be a lot bigger project, and we'll cover that on the channel when that happens. But yeah, right now the plan is not to flip the bike. I talked about that in the first video, that maybe I would flip it, but I'm kind of falling in love with having an old Evo, especially a Springer again. So this bike's probably not going anywhere. I'm probably just going to ride the crap out of it. Not like throw thousands and thousands of miles a month on it, but hundreds of miles a month on it. Ride it every week. Try to, at least back and forth to work once or twice. Little trips. I'm really enjoying it. You know, I can tell you, it doesn't have great brakes like a modern bike, like a modern Softail. If I was going to go touring across the country, then yeah, I would want a newer Softail. Suspension on this is surprisingly good. I just rode an 06 Dyna that I don't think rides as good as this Softail does. So this bike has had at least adjustable shock links added to the end of the shocks, or somebody's replaced the shocks with adjustable shocks. I may lower the back end a little bit, and we'll see how that looks, see how it affects the ride. That's a possibility because it does already have those adjustable links on there. So we'll probably do that in the video. I'm going to think real hard about the cam. You guys let me know. What do you think? Should I do an Andrews EV27 cam on it? And the biggest thing would just be sound, a little more throttle response, a little pickup there. If I'm going to make it a rider and not a show bike, something that I'm going to enjoy riding, I kind of feel like that's maybe a good small upgrade to do, and especially since I already own the cam, and then just leave it set there. I'm not trying to turn this into a fast bike. I have a fast bike, so I don't need it for that. But I do want it to be responsive when I need to accelerate to get out in traffic or things like that. Probably change these handle grips when I change the handlebars too. Probably go with the Kuryakin that have the ISO in them, more rubber. Helps reduce that vibration in your hands. Not that this has been terrible, but if I'm going to change out the bars, that might be a change I'm considering doing as well. Get one that has that little throttle boss on there that you can kind of rest your wrist on to hold the throttle open. I think that'll also make it nice since I don't have cruise control on this bike, if I'm going to ride it more. Let me know in the comments, if it was your bike, would you put a cam in it? Would you change anything? Would you leave it as, put it back to stock? What would you like to do if this was your 1999 Springer with only 10,000 miles on it? All right, guys, I just wanted to give you an update on the bike, tell you a little bit about what I've discovered on it. I did the oil change yesterday, 3-hole oil service on it. Fluids looked fine. I mean, the oil was black. It needed to be changed, but I didn't find any chunks of metal on the magnets or anything like that to give me any concern about riding this bike. I do want to take a second and talk to you guys about something. It's a product that I found. Well, I didn't find it. They found me, and they asked me to try them out. And since I got this bike, I have been using the crap out of them. So these are earplugs from Earpeace. And when you get these, you can get 2 different decibel levels. You can get a max and you can get a high. One is like negative 28 decibels and one's negative 20. I went with the negative 20 because I still want to be able to hear the motor. If I'm playing music in my helmet, I want to be able to hear that. So I went with the negative 20 here. These things are really easy to install. You just lift up on your ear, push them in, let go, and they stay. And I've done hundreds of miles with these in on different bikes. I've tried them on my Dyna, on my Street Glide, and I now have them attached to my keychain for this bike, because when I ride this bike with no windshield, no fairing, it's a lot more noticeable for the wind noise. So this is going to help protect my hearing a lot. So if you're riding a bike like this or interested in a bike like this, I would definitely recommend you check out Earpeace. I'll throw a link in the description down below because somebody will ask me about it if I don't. Not trying to push it, just letting you guys know about something, a product that somebody sent me to test that I found to really be a big improvement when I'm riding this bike, because I wear a half helmet a lot, and so that really helps cut down with the wind noise in my ears. All right, guys, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you dig this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell to be notified the next time I drop a new video. And as always, y'all stay safe and keep on riding.